Hey everybody, today I want to talk about 3 albums that I just uploaded to my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. And the 3 albums happen to be Fleetwood Mac's album Rumors, Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album that came out just before Rumors, and Led Zeppelin's album Led Zeppelin IV. And this is a very unique pressing that I cannot wait to tell you about. But first, let's talk about these Fleetwood Mac albums. So first off, this is Fleetwood Mac's album Rumors, which of course is their most well-known album, their best-selling album, their most critically acclaimed album. This is the Fleetwood Mac album that you want to own. And it really is fantastic. I mean, every single song on here is just great. There's absolutely no filler on this album at all. And it's just one of my all-time favorite albums. And this particular pressing is a very, very special one. Now, in the 1970s, when this album came out, there were so many of these albums pressed in the late 70s, even into the early 80s, and even into the late 80s. So many different pressings of this album because it was in demand and it was selling like crazy. So, and by the way, I would say 80% of those pressings sound really, really good. But there's a small batch that are just that much better than all the rest, and this happens to be one of them. This is on the Warner Brothers label, and this record, by the way, is in absolutely beautiful, beautiful, pristine condition. There's side 1. There's side 2. Now, in the dead wax on both sides, this has stamped "Mastered by Capitol." It's got some other etchings as well, but this is an absolutely sonic just powerhouse. This sounds so wonderful. It just jumps off of the grooves, out of your speakers, sounds so great. And the absolute stars of this pressing, in my opinion, it's the drums by Mick Fleetwood and the bass playing by John McVie. The drums just sound absolutely fantastic. I can't describe to you how great these drums sound, especially the kick drum, especially the tom-toms. They just really, really like rattle the room. That goes for the bass as well. The bass and the drums work so well together on this album, and arguably these two guys, Mick Fleetwood, John McVie, were one of the best rhythm sections ever. I mean, they're just so fantastic. And on Rumors, they are really, really locking in, and they sound so great. Now, that being said, everything else sounds great on this as well. It has great high-end clarity. The vocals are wonderful. The guitar is great. Everything about this is just so, so great. And this is the way to listen to Rumors, in my opinion. So if you are in the market for Rumors, head to the website, check this one out. I've had a lot of people over the last, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 months, writing to me asking when I was going to have another copy of Rumors on the website. And I finally have it here now, so definitely head over there and check it out. You may be asking yourself, why does it take so long for me to get certain albums back up on the website? And it's just really a matter of how many copies I can get my hands on. I think, for example, when it came to this batch of Rumors, I had about 5, maybe like 5 or 6 that I picked up that were in good condition and had the right markings and stuff. And then once I'm able to find all those, then I have to listen to all of them and narrow it down to which one sounds better. And it just takes a lot of time. So that's why if there's long gaps between certain albums, that's the main reason. So here it is now, though. You don't have to worry about it. So go to the website, check out Rumors. Here's Bobby, by the way. Hi, Bob. He's going to come over here and say hi. Okay. There he goes. Okay, let's talk about this other Fleetwood Mac album now. This is Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album. This was released in 1975. And this is the album that first featured Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks with the band. And this is just a great album. Honestly, it's really, really close, in my opinion, to Rumors in the sense of almost every song on here is just absolutely fantastic. There might be like maybe 1 or 2 that are a little bit filler, but still really great. And the sound quality on this is amazing as well. Now, this is on the Reprise label. And as you can see there's side 1 and there is side 2. Now, this is a special pressing because it has Kin Done on side 1 and side 2. But on side 1, you also get etched in the dead wax Pogo. And that is very, very important. And this is the pressing to own, as Bobby is going to also tell you. So this pressing, Bobby, excuse me, we're talking about Fleetwood Mac here. It's very important. It's very important. We're talking about Fleetwood Mac. Okay. So this pressing is really, really exceptional. And having those markings in the dead wax really makes this one just over the top great. It is an electric album. It sounds so wonderful. It's really on par with Rumors. And by the way, these two together work extremely well. They're very much, in my opinion, kind of like how Revolver and Rubber Soul work together with the Beatles. These are very similar in that sense, because what came after this, which is the album Tusk, which I like a lot as well, Tusk, they went in a new direction, and it didn't really sound that much like these two albums, really all that much. And then after Tusk, they went on to do an album called Mirage, which had its own sound as well, and then Tango in the Night, and etc. They kind of changed their sound as they went. But these two albums kind of have a similar sound, very much like the Beatles' Rubber Soul, Revolver, and they both just really, really complement each other, I would say. So if you're in the market for some great sounding Fleetwood Mac, these two pressings might be the ones for you. So head to the website, check these out. Now, let's talk about this Led Zeppelin album. And I got to admit, right off the bat, that this one took me by surprise because it doesn't have the normal markings that for Led Zeppelin IV that I have found in the past to make those albums sound the absolute best. And those usual markings are Porky, Pecco. And this one doesn't have those markings, but it is very similar in the sonic qualities. In fact, it's almost identical to those Porky Pecco pressings. In fact, I have two of those in my own personal collection that I use to base off a lot of my listening off of. And when I played this one against both those copies, this is nearly identical. By the way, I should first mention exactly what pressing this is, because I realized I just went on this whole tangent and didn't even tell you. So this does not have Porky Pecco in the dead wax, but what it does have is someone has etched, well, not someone, but the person at the pressing plant etched in here GRT and PR. Now, GRT did a lot of pressed a lot of records in the 70s. They did a bunch of other great albums, but they only worked on only other Led Zeppelin album that they worked on was Presence, as far as that they pressed some copies of that. But I couldn't find anywhere online, on Discogs, on whatever, I couldn't find anywhere else that had a Led Zeppelin IV with these stampers on it. Now, obviously, that makes it kind of rare because I go through a bunch of Led Zeppelin IV albums. I probably, in the last year, have gone through, I would say, over 50, maybe close to like 60, almost 65, 70. And most of the time, you're going to find, all the usual suspects, like, I don't know, like SRC or, Presswell, or all those different kinds of pressings, or, the Pecco Duck ones. But this one is just kind of unique to itself. And I took a chance on this one too, because obviously when I saw this in the record store, my initial gut feeling was don't buy this one because it doesn't have the usual things. But I wanted to check it out because I'd never seen these markings before. And I gotta say, I'm so happy I did because it sounds so great. And it honestly, of the batch that I had, which by the way, I think for this batch, I had about like 4 or 5 different, besides this one, different pressings of Led Zeppelin IV. This one beat out all of those for a number of reasons. The most important reason is that it sounds, like I said, almost identical to my Porky Pecco pressings that I have in my own collection. I'm pointing over there, by the way, because the shelf that is sitting behind the camera is my shelf that has Led Zeppelin, my Led Zeppelin records. So this was nearly identical to those pressings, which was great, obviously. The other great thing about this is it's an absolutely beautiful near mint condition, which these albums are so hard to get in near mint condition. I don't know how many times I've said this, but it's so true, especially on songs like Stairway to Heaven, which has so many quiet parts. If there's any type of imperfections in the pressing or in the vinyl, you'll hear that. This one, it's so clean, so great. And on top of that, it just sounds so good. It's such a rich sound. This is the way you want to hear Led Zeppelin IV. And it also goes to show that my theory, and a lot of other people's theories too, by the way, I didn't invent this theory, but the theory that I go with for all the records that I work on is that you can have, two of the identical same pressing of a record, but they're both going to sound a little bit different. That's just how it is with records. It's just, there's so many variables that go into pressing a record, and it's what makes it exciting in my opinion. And this is a great example of, I could forever go after the certain pressings that I've found to be generally the ones that sound the best. I could forever just go for those and never go for anything else. But what I think is important and what is really fun for me is to always keep searching, because there's so many different pressings that I've never heard or I've never seen or gotten my hands on that probably could sound great. Now, 9 times out of 10, if I go for a different pressing that's not the one that I'm used to, it doesn't measure up to the good one that I know about. That's usually the case. But every once in a while, you get one that is just as good, if not better, than the ones that you're used to knowing that are the good ones. And this is one of them. So, if you're interested in picking up Led Zeppelin IV, this is a great one. So check it out on the website. And also check out these 2 Fleetwood Mac albums, Rumors and Self-Titled. And stay tuned, because I have lots of other records coming to the website. I also have been working on making a video all about the Beatles cassettes, because a friend of mine gave me a cassette deck, which I have right here. And I've been listening to a lot of cassettes, and I've been picking up a lot of cassettes because A, they're fun to listen to, and B, it's just something new. I never, ever before have I ever bought a cassette or collected cassettes, so it's a whole new thing for me. Do they sound as good as records? No. Do they sound as good as CDs? No. In fact, if you're into audiophile sounds, cassettes aren't really the way to go. But they're fun, and they're unique to themselves. So it's a little road I've been going down, and I'm going to make a video all about it, so stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for more records. And as always, take care, and hey, bye for now.